Eileo guys, and welcome back. So we're here yet again with another updated video for Yeti. So to whoever that left a comment on the video for the update, I do thank you for helping not only the boys out but also the girls out with a more up-to-date view of Yeti. So let's go ahead and give it a go. So starting off here, we have Fire Yeti, who's an attacker type. She is a Nat 3, very common Nat 3, because the water one, I believe, can be farmed out from glacial plains, which she's also super duper helpful with a fusion. I can't remember which fusion, but she is super duper helpful with one of those. I believe it's part of the Dark Merlin tree though, but don't quote me on that. But anyways, Fire Yeti is an attacker type. She's coming in with 28k HP. 2.8k attack and 1.6k defense, so she is essentially all gas, no brakes. If you hit her, she's going to die. If she hits you, you may not die, but you're going to wish you were dead. But let's take a look at her skills though. She does have the variant leader skill, Death Blow, meaning with her critical hits, she can help boost the damage of the party, which isn't that bad depending on which Yeti you may be running, especially as a newer player here. But I would tell you, spoiler alert, later on in the game, she's not as effective as she could be, but she's absolutely better nowadays than what she was at least the time of the last video, I want to say, which was back in like 2018. For her 3-star skill, she has Hunter, which increases her critical hit damage by 40%. Hopefully your Fire Yeti, if you choose to use her, has max crit, because if she doesn't crit on that 3-star skill, congratulations, you've played yourself. For her 5-star skill, she has Blind, which grants her a 60% chance to blind the enemy for 2 turns. Blind's main appeal is only in a Titan scenario, and I'll tell you right now, you're not going to be bringing Fire Yeti into Titans unless you just want to watch the world burn. But for her Hunter, that receives a 25% damage increase. No increase in its effectiveness though. And then for her Blind, that also receives a 20% damage increase and goes up to, I believe, 70%. So next, your question may be, well, Eileo, I just started the game, is she usable anywhere? You could argue that you could take her with Hunter and probably run her in B9 since she's pullable from eggs, which would be okay. It's just that her 5-star skill doesn't make sense for B9. But if that's all that you have to use, that's all that you have to use. And in that 3 league, I haven't really seen Fire Yetis being used here, because while she does have Hunter, once again, Blind isn't that amazing in a PvP situation. So her usage is very minimal, if not just non-existent, because other mons like Fire Leo exist, other mons like Fire Wild Thing exist, and it's just one of those mons where with a slight skill change, like if they gave her double Hunter and just made her like the Nat 3 version of Leo, I think that would be interesting. Or if they gave her something else like Hunter and Predator, that would still be quite interesting. But the whole Blind scenario is just, I don't know, man, kind of weird, champ. So if you guys have any extravagant uses for Fire Yeti, feel free to leave that in the comments below. But on to the water one next. Alright, so we have a Water Yeti here who actually has a good design in my opinion. She's a defender type though. She's coming in with nearly 29k HP, 2k attack, and then 2.6k defense. Like, bro, these Yetis, stat-wise, they're actually slapping, dude. I'm surprised. I don't remember this at all. Yeti stat-wise is slapping, but stats don't make them on. It's skills first and then stats second. So let's go and take a look at her skills here. So for her 3-star skill, she has attack down, which grants a 60% chance to reduce the enemy's attack for 2 turns. And then for her 5-star skill, she has defense down, which grants a 60% chance to reduce the enemy's defense for 2 turns. So Water Yeti is very simple here. She's literally just a debuffer. Her main job is just to survive and debuff whatever that you're fighting here. Now what you're fighting, that's none of my business. I'm just telling you what she does. Let's take a look at the books though. So attack down receives a 15% damage boost and it goes up to 70% for 2 turns, I want to say. And then defense down also receives a 20% damage boost and goes up to 70% for 2 turns once again, if I can do math correctly here. Now the thing with this though is attack down is nice, especially in a Titan situation. Defense down is nice in the Titan situation too. But we already have mons that fill in both those slots and are just a lot more reliable with those. Like Water Shelly, defense down 100%. Why would I bring in something that has to get to its 5-star skill to apply defense down? Same thing with attack down. There's Water Indra. He is obviously 2 stars higher than her because he's a nat 5 versus a nat 3. Why would I bring her in there as well? And I'm pretty sure there's other alternatives to that. So it's like, why would I bring her anywhere? Like in like a PvP situation? Absolutely not. I'm not going to bring a debuffer in a PvP situation. I'm going to bring him on that can do crowd control. I'm going to bring him on that can do shock. I'm going to bring him on that can do stun. But I'm not going to bring attack down and defense downer because that's just a wasted slot, even with the nat 3 league of having her stats boosted. It's just that due to her element and her typing, essentially, it's just not very useful other than feeding it to help further you along in your Dark Merlin process. Coming in hot though after that, we do have Wood Yeti, who's a tank type. She's coming in with 33k HP, 1.9k attack, then about 2k defense here. So we finally hit it, boys. We finally have reached the garbage nat 3 of Yeti. Not saying that water is useful, but Wood, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Skill wise though, let's take a look. She has Taunt as her 3-star skill, which grants an 80% chance to lower the enemy's attack and draw its attention for 1 turn. Outdated. And then for her 5-star skill, she has a 2-time sap with a 60% chance for 1 turn. I don't... It's one of those mods, man. I don't know what's going on here. So not only do I taunt the enemy to take damage with my 2k defense stat, but I also sap them? Like, they just don't synergize whatsoever. Like, I've talked about taunt before, but I'm not really focused on taunt. It's just that I'm a sapper, but also a tank. But there's other mons that can do both of these things, and it's just obviously a lot better. Wood Yeti is purely just for the Asher guide, though. I'm not even going to think about where you can use her at, because I don't want to give you guys any ideas. So her taunt receives a 15% damage boost, and it goes up to 2 turns. Oh my goodness, man. 2 turns taunt? Let's go, boys! Let's go! And then for her 2-time sap, that receives a 20% damage boost, and it goes up to 2 turns as well. And what is that for? 60% chance. Yeah. So, yeah. That's it. Asher guide. Alright, here we go. We have Light Yeti, who's a defender type. She's coming in with 28k HP, 2.4k attack, and then 3.1k defense. And she is a light nat 4. So, okay. Okay, we're working with something here, you guys. Skills wise though, she has morale boost, which grants a 100% chance to restore 30% of her own SP when attacking, meaning that she can get to her 5-star skill fairly reliably as long as she can act. And for her 5-star skill, she has shock, which grants a 70% chance to shock the target for 1 turn. This isn't too bad, but wait, let's take a look at the skill books here. So her morale boost receives a 25% damage boost, nothing in terms of potency, not even 35%. And then shock receives a 20% damage boost as well and goes to 80% for 1 turn. We almost had them, boys. We almost had them. Like, if they could drop her shock down, honestly, to 60% and make it 2 turns, okay, we would be working with something here. But, I mean, the 80% shock for 1 turn is kind of meh. I would prefer it just be 100%, but maybe they figure that would be too OP. But honestly though, I think Light Yeti is just an overall good introductory mon as you begin the game to kind of build and understand how the mechanics of the game work, because she's not OP, she's not super duper terrible, she's probably somewhere, in my opinion, just average and nothing extravagant. So she's something that you're going to replace in the future. But for what you get out of her in terms of like stat distribution wise and her overall usage, I think especially as a newer player, it's actually pretty decent. I think Light Yeti is okay. Could she use a boost? Absolutely. Is that ever going to happen? Probably not, but for where she sits at this point in time, I think she is okay. And last but not least, we have Dark Yeti here, who's a balance type, and she's coming in with 35k HP, 2.4k attack, and then 2.3k defense. A little bit lackluster for nat 4, but I mean, we can't win everything. I can't have everything in the world, you guys. It's just not how reality works. But for her 3-star skill, she has Stun, which grants 80% chance to stun the enemy for 2 turns. And then for her 5-star skill, she has Still, which goes for 2 turns at 80% here. So we can already see with her kit that she is more of just a crowd control mon. She's not really there for damage, even though her attack and defense are pretty much the same. Her HP pool is actually kind of high, depending on what her type is, which, what is it again? Balance type, yeah. Her HP pool is actually kind of high. It's more towards tank territory than anything else, which really promotes her just being more of a defensive mon versus an offensive mon. But with stun, obviously she prevents mons from acting, and with still, she can help prevent them from getting off certain skills. So obviously survivability should be the biggest focus for her. But let's take a look at the percentages that we get from skill books though. So stun receives a 15% damage boost, and it goes up to, what was that, 90% for 2 turns? Wow, that is actually a very, very solid 3-star skill. Still receives a 20% damage boost, and it goes up to 90% for 2 turns as well. So once again, the books are solid. We're not getting 3 turns still, and I'm not a super duper big fan of Seal, but I will say that that stun right there is pretty spicy, man, especially as a Nat 4 that is just a rebirth mon. Very, very spicy. Once again, her main selling point though is making sure the enemy can't act. So in a clan versus clan / PvP, and if you're feeling froggy, a champion league situation, having her paired up with mons that help shield her or heal her to prevent her death would be optimal, because that way she can get more of her stuns off and hopefully get some seals off. But I think her main selling point in general is just that stun, because 90% of 2 turns is dirt nasty amazing. I'm not saying that Dark Yeti herself is dirt nasty amazing. I'm saying that 3-star skill is bringing the spice here. What smartstudy did in the past with changing Yetis, I think was a very, very good change, because she's fairly accessible to new players. Even if you pull light and dark ones, you can farm them out in the story and get her to Evo 3 and just get overall a good feeling of the game here. Are you going to use the Yetis forever? Absolutely not, but it does help you get kind of a better understanding of how to build mons and seeing how they interact in their different typings. But to end the video here, I will say that Dark Yeti is probably going to be number 1 on my list, followed by Light Yeti, and then after that I would say the RGB is just trash. Like, the only usable ones are light and dark, which is in most cases the same thing for like 85% of Ashermon out there. And obviously once you get better PvP mons to Evo 2 and Evo 3, these mons will be replaced, but they do serve as a good stepping stone for newer players if you can get them fairly early. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Yeti review. Feel free to leave a comment below about what your favorite Yeti is and where you use her at. And as always, if there's any more videos that need to be updated, feel free to pull up that video on my monster review playlist, and you can simply just say update. I'll take a look at it, and hopefully in the future that update will be done. But thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.